Let's talk about a big shift happening right now. You know, like the printing press or the internet. Artificial intelligence has arrived, and it's not just tweaking the edges of university education, it's forcing a complete reinvention right from the very foundations.
Okay, to really get the scale of what we're talking about, just look at this timeline. Think about it. Microsoft in '75 gave us personal computing. Google in '98 changed how we find information. The iPhone in '07 put a computer in every pocket. Well, the release of ChatGPT in 2022, that's the next big one on the list. It's that same kind of history-making moment.
And this isn't some academic theory about the future. That number you're seeing, 87%, that's the percentage of students worldwide who are already using ChatGPT for their schoolwork. It's not a wave that's coming, you guys. The wave is already here. It's in the classroom right now.
So this brings us right to the heart of the matter. AI's disruption of the university isn't a what-if scenario. It's a present-day reality, and it's forcing every single educator to make a choice.
And honestly, the choice is pretty stark. You can try to ignore AI, but what happens then? Well, students are going to use it anyway. They'll just use it badly. You'll get poor learning outcomes, and academic integrity basically goes out the window. So really, the only path forward is to embrace it, to lean in and actually teach students how to use these incredible tools as an ethical and effective partner for learning. And just to be clear, the price for doing nothing is incredibly high. If institutions just wait and see, they're going to find that their graduates are totally unprepared for the modern workplace. Their university will fall behind on the world stage, and the mountain they have to climb to catch up will just get steeper and steeper.
Okay, so if embracing AI is the way to go, how do we actually do it? Well, the first step is to realize that this whole conversation is bigger than just ChatGPT. We need to be thinking about a whole ecosystem of AI tools that are built for academic life.
And what's so cool about this is how you can map specific tools to what you need to do. For teaching, you've got tools like Claude, which is amazing at having natural conversations. For creating new kinds of assessments, ChatGPT is fantastic. And for research, man, tools like Elicit and Semantic Scholar can do things like automate literature reviews, which saves researchers countless hours. The point is, AI isn't just one thing, it's a whole suite of assistants. But you know, having the right tools is only half the battle. Knowing how to talk to them, that's the other half. This means we all have to learn a new kind of language, a new way to communicate our ideas clearly to an AI. There's a name for this. It's called context engineering. And you've got to remember the most important rule. AI is not a search engine. You can't just type in a few keywords like you do on Google and expect a good result. To get something that's high quality and not just generic fluff, you have to give it rich context, the background, your goals, any constraints, the whole picture. Now, a really powerful way to do this is with something called the RACFQ framework. It's simple. You give the AI a role, like you are a historian. You tell it the action to perform. You give it context. You specify the output format, and then, and this is the secret sauce, you tell it to ask you clarifying questions. This makes sure it actually understands what you're asking for. And this just shows you the night and day difference. The weak prompt, write an essay on ocean pollution, it's going to get you a boring, generic response that a student could just copy and paste. But the effective prompt, it turns the whole thing into a professional simulation that requires real critical thinking. It's a total game changer. You know, when you start working this way with these kinds of prompts, it leads you to a pretty profound place. You start to question the very foundation of how we assess learning, which could mean we're seeing the end of exams as we know them.
What this really means is we're moving away from that old passive model. You know the one, sit through a PowerPoint lecture, cram the content, pass an exam, and then forget everything a week later. We're moving to a much more active model, where students tackle a real problem, use AI as their research partner, and spend their brain power on critical analysis to come up with a creative solution.
So let's look at a classic, old-school assignment. Write a 500-word essay on climate change. I mean, come on. An AI can knock that out in about 5 seconds, with absolutely zero thinking from the student.
Now, look at how we can completely transform that. The student is no longer a student, they're a UN climate delegate from Sri Lanka. Their task isn't just to write about something, it's to solve a problem and produce a professional document, a policy memo, using AI as a creative partner.
Here's another one. Explain marketing mix theory. This is pure memorization. It's just asking a student to repeat information, and AI can do that perfectly every single time. But in the new model, the student becomes a startup founder in Colombo.
They have a real budget, a real goal. They have to use AI for actual market research and then apply that marketing mix theory to build a prototype and pitch it. See the difference? Learning goes from just explaining something to actually doing it.
So, this whole shift, this entire reinvention, it's all about one thing: preparing students for tomorrow's careers, not just for yesterday's exams. It's about giving them the skills they're actually going to need out there.
And what are those skills? Well, you have technical ones, sure, like prompt engineering and knowing how to verify what an AI tells you. But it also sharpens those timeless human skills: critical analysis, professional communication, and making tough decisions with limited resources.
This really creates a whole new kind of partnership. The AI does the heavy lifting, it gathers the info, it processes the data, it does the first draft of analysis, and that frees up the student to focus on what we humans do best: critical thinking, making judgment calls, creative problem solving, and considering the ethics of it all.
Of course, with great power comes great responsibility. This partnership needs guardrails. It is absolutely crucial that we teach students how to use AI responsibly. That means always verifying what it says to avoid hallucinations. That's when an AI just confidently makes things up. It means protecting private data, not becoming over-reliant on the tool, and always being transparent about how you're using it. And in the end, the whole message really comes down to this: resisting this change, it's a losing battle. The future belongs to the educators and the universities that see AI not as a threat, but as an unbelievably powerful ally to teach with, to prepare students for a world that isn't coming. It's already here.